Hey, it's Dave. Today we're going to be talking about this X99 system. We're going to be doing some upgrades to it. This is a system I've been working on for quite a while, and the idea is to get it in its final home, final revision, and one of the things we're going to be doing that with is to put it in a very nice Meshify C white with tempered glass. Some other stuff we're going to be doing, we're going to swap out this CLC cooler for a really high performance air one, just so it's maintenance free for the rest of its life. We're going to upgrade the high bandwidth bridge, and we're going to change the fan configuration a little bit, and of course add some slick RGB to play off of that white Meshify case. Okay, so we've got two Asus Strix 1080 Ti's. We're going to be keeping those because there's not really anything better on the market. We're going to keep this RAM. It's Corsair Vengeance LPX. It's 3200, runs really well. We're actually going to be replacing the CPU because there's one addition. Go to the 6 series. There's a 5930 in there now, and what I want to do is take it up to the 6850. It's still a 6-core, but it clocks a little bit higher, and the overclocking potential is a little bit better, which is going to show real benefit in games and workloads like Premiere. One thing we're not going to replace is the Asus X99 ROG Strix motherboard. It's been excellent so far, and the changes that we're going to make should let it continue to be excellent for however long it lasts. So let's get started tearing this down. Enjoy the time lapse. Just kidding. It is possible to be plenty organized with this many fans, but one thing I am going to be using with this build is the Corsair Commander Pro, which is this enormous unit right here. And this can act not only as the controller for the RGB portion of the Corsair Lightroom fans that we have over here, but it can actually act as the PWM speed control for all 6 fans. There are 6 slots here, and there are up to 6 slots on this small controller, which is a modular connector here. So you can actually control up to 12 RGB enabled fans or potentially other Corsair devices. The only problem is finding a spot for it where it's out of the way. So we're going to talk about this a little more, but this is what you have to deal with if you want RGB fans, especially if you involve the Corsair Commander Pro. There's a lot of cables to deal with. If you go RGB fans as opposed to standard fans, you could have between 50% and 100% more cables to deal with. Okay, so the build is all complete. Cable management on the back is all done, and there's nothing left to do but fire it up and talk about a few things that were learned throughout this pretty lengthy build. Alright, so this was a pretty long build, mainly because we started with a working computer and had to take it completely apart, swap the case, and then we do quite a bit of fan installation here on the second one. I'm really happy with the way these cable mod kits are looking. These aren't extension kits, these are actually full replacement kits, specifically made for the HX line of the Corsair power supplies, which we've got the HX100 down here in the basement. Wanted to go for kind of a black and white color scheme since the Meshify C white isn't a completely white case. It's got some contrast going on internally and then on the mesh in the front. So we did the white with the carbon, which just has a little bit more of a sheen to it, as opposed to just a matte black that kind of fades into the background more. Let's talk illumination. We've got 3 of the Corsair 120 light loops, the LL series. They look awesome. You can customize them a ton, but there's a component you can't see that's required for that. That's the Corsair Commander Pro. So that's tucked away behind the motherboard tray. Even in a case this size, you can find a spot for it, you can route your cables, and it's going to really contribute to the whole system looking great. So the idea with this airflow design is that as the fans ramp up under heavier and heavier, especially GPU loads, since these GPUs do exhaust most of their heat into the case, as the light looms reach their max RPM of 1500, the front MLs can continue to ramp up almost 1,000 extra RPM. So the heavier the load, the more the front fans ramp up, and the greater the positive pressure in the case overall. So I mentioned earlier that we changed the CPU out when I swapped the board from the old case to the new. We went from a 5930, which is a 6-core, to another 6-core. We went to the 6850. You may be wondering why we didn't go for the 10-core that's available, which is the 6950. So there's a couple reasons for that. Even though we're a series out and X299 is available now, the 6950 is still retailing for almost $1,700. And for that price, you could get the newest Intel and a completely new board to go with it. So the second reason is clock speeds. The 6950 actually has a fairly low boost clock and base clock compared to the brand new 10 core that's available, whereas the 6-core series here on the X99 platform has a much higher one, and the boost clocks on just a couple cores can really shine with certain workloads, specifically like gaming and applications like Premiere and Photoshop. So is X99 still a valid platform in 2018? I think so, and I think this system shows that it is. With a few tweaks, you can take an existing X99 system and you can really max it out, whether you want a high core count that you can get out of the 10-core CPU, or whether you want it to be a capable all-rounder like this system is. If you don't already have an X99 motherboard, I'm not sure that I'd recommend that you purchase a new one, simply because the CPUs available on the X299 platform are a much better value when you take into consideration the available core counts and the price point. Alright, well that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments on this system, whether you have, an issue with the aesthetics of mixed fans, or whether you think that we should have gone for the 10 core. Just let me know what you think below, and I'll see you in the next one.